Most AI projects lose money, especially when you consider the time that goes into creating all these cool automations and agents. And today I will show you the reason why this is the case and how you can avoid it, how you can stop wasting your time and money on creating AI that doesn't really solve anything. And the fundamental reason why this happens is that you are not able to calculate your return on investment before you even start the project. And let me tell you a secret before we even begin this, and that is that usually the most boring automations make the most money. It's not the flashy CRMs updating this and that, having 50 agents working at the same time. No, it's usually the boring ones. But I'll show you what that's all about as well. All right, but here right now I have a return on investment calculator, and I will put this in the description so you can have a look at it, and I will also show you how you can create one on your own. This is a great tool to use internally in your company, or if you're an agency owner and you help other companies implement AI like myself, then this is also a fantastic tool to also sell. It's a fantastic selling tool because this way you will be able to calculate exactly what is it really that we're getting here, all right? And as any business owner, what we care about is the end outcome. How much money am I going to make out of this? Especially in B2B sales, that's all we care about. All right, so here, for example, we have a automation return calculation. And what this is essentially just a simple calculation on how you can calculate the, first of all, annual return on investment, which is the most logical way to look at these things, and then the payback period as well. And then you have a couple of other cool stats here, and you can make this more complicated as well, but I'll just show you real quick what this is about. All right, so first of all, when you have a current process in your business, and this is why I would say that when you are starting to implement AI, before you do anything, you should really think about, like, where is your time going right now? And the rule for what is possible to automate is usually that if you can quantify something, you can put the logic on a piece of paper, then it's possible to automate. If you have a task, a manual task, for example, that you could train someone, in 2 days to do, you could train an intern to do it in 2 days, then it's possible to automate. And this is a perfect task for AI. So let's say we have a company named HVAC, let's say United. All right, this is a great name. HVAC United. I have quite a lot of HVAC companies that I've helped in the past because they have a lot of manual work and it's a boring business as well. So let's say we have a HVAC company and they're currently spending a lot of time on emails, right? They have a lot of emails, they have orders coming in, and this is a process that is, taking up, too much time. It's taking up, how many hours per week is it taking up? Well, currently they're spending 3 hours per day, and we have 5 days a week that they're doing it, which means by my calculations that it should be 15 hours, right? So let's put 15 hours right here. So now we sort of know this is sort of how you want to think about these things. Like, how much time are you currently spending on this? And I will soon also show you how you can think about like AI go-to-market and stuff. But on the automation part, you want to think about how much is a current task currently taking you. All right, so it's 15 hours per week. And then you need to calculate what is the average hourly labor cost. Let's say it's 30 hours per week. And then you also need to factor in employer costs. At least here in Finland, it's expensive, man. Like, if you're going to hire someone, like, you should calculate at least 30% on top of it, without like any crazy benefits. So we'll put 30% there, which essentially means that, it's about like 40 euros an hour. And then we have estimated error reduction. And this, what I mean by this is essentially that when a human is doing this, it might happen that humans make mistakes. AI would never do mistakes, all right? But humans make mistakes, and there might be something that you mess up the order, you put in the wrong data, whatever the case is. But let's just say that we can reduce errors by 15%. All right, this will also improve the business in ways other than just saving time. All right, so now we sort of have the benefits. So this is the current process, and if we can automate this whole process, then this is sort of the benefit that we will get. And then obviously you need to calculate your automation investment. That's usually easier. And let's just say that it's 3,000 euros to, you can put this in dollars as well, but let's say 3,000 euros for a implementation cost, and then monthly maintenance is, let's just say 300. All right. So this is then sort of, this is what it will cost. All right. So this is your benefit. This is what it will cost. And then if we take a look at the return on investment, we see that it has excellent ROI potential. And the net monthly savings will be 2,600 euros. And then we can also calculate what is the annual return on investment, what is the payback period, etc., etc. But the cool thing about this is that, you know, if you invest in stocks, what will your return on investment be? It will be like 8%, 10%. If you're good, it will maybe be 12%. But essentially, there's really nothing that gives you a annual return on investment like implementing AI for the right sort of stuff. So right here, we can calculate that this is what we're getting on a monthly basis in savings, and obviously this will pay back itself like very quickly. So this is just quickly, you know, showing you what it's possible to do. And then if you're an agency trying to sell this to a business, then obviously you can download a PDF, you can email them the things, and yeah, it's way easier to sell when you actually have a process of looking at these things. If you talk about lead generation, this is one thing that we can then essentially go through the same process. But what I like to do is, for example, cold email, because there's a lot of companies and agencies doing cold email. This might also be something that you want to do for your business, and it's a little bit more complex to calculate this, but it's not really rocket science. All right, we're not Elon Musk here shooting up rockets into space. Like, we are not. I'm at least not that smart, so I'm sticking to things that I'm good at, and this is definitely like one of them. All right, but let's say we have a cold email investment of 3,000 euros, and then we have a monthly maintenance for 450 euros. A pretty standard package, or maybe it's actually not that standard. Let's say it's 1,000 euros per month, and it's 2,000 to start. All right, this I think is more legit. And then how many emails are we sending per month? Let's just say with a conservative 6,000 emails per month, which is, if you have a large enough like tangible market, this is nothing really. You can definitely scale this up more. I can in another video talk about like the exact cold email system that I've used to, you know, essentially book meetings for millions of euros or dollars. But 6,000 emails per month, let's say we have a reply rate of 3%. Of those 3%, let's say 20% are positive, and then of those we can book, let's just say we're good at booking. So we're good at booking, and we're very good at following up. So let's say we can book 50% of them. And meeting show rate, I usually have a lot higher, just because, you know, I'm good at the follow-ups, all right? So I make sure that we have a high meeting show rate. Obviously, you could put this to 90%, 95%, but usually it's good to have a buffer here when we're trying to calculate this. And then how many of the meetings can we close? I'm personally a fantastic closer, so I will put it at 25%. Obviously, it could be higher, but then if we're actually doing cold email and it's cold traffic, usually 25-30% is usually a pretty good range to be in. And then the last and final thing we need to calculate is sort of the lifetime value of a customer. So how much is one customer worth to us? So let's say we're an accounting firm and one client pays us 1,000 euros or dollars per year. And usually our clients churn at 5 years. All right. Then it's quite easy to calculate. Our average churn is 5 years. We'll get $1,000 per month. Or per year, I wish per month, per year. That means that our lifetime value of a customer is 5,000 euros or dollars. All right, so that's it. And then based on this, you calculate all of this, and you'll essentially see your net annual profit, your annual return on investment, if you want to put numbers or percentages on it. And then you'll see the other stats as well. What is the cost per meeting? What is the cost per customer? The CAC, and then obviously also your net monthly profit. and then you also have the annual profit here as well. All right, but this is a pretty simple way on how you can do it, and I highly recommend you to either create something of your own, like this sort of thing, or you can just use this. It's in the link in the description. I will also be updating this, since this is something I've had a previous version of this which was way more complex. Now I just I cooked this up last week, and I will soon be updating this quite a lot more. So you can grab it, you can use it, it's free to use, and hopefully you can make better decisions for your business, or if you're helping other businesses, make better sort of sales pitches for your clients and deliver them significant results. All right, thank you very much for watching. If you want to see very practical AI tips and you want to have walkthroughs like this where I go in way more depth, subscribe to the channel. My goal here is to sort of cut the fluff, cut the hype. These are not edited in any ways. Just give you raw value. So you can also comment in the description, not in the description, comment in the comments, in the comment field, like what are things that would be useful for you. All right, but my name is Felix, and thank you very much for watching, and have a lovely rest of your day. Goodbye, bye-bye.